Okay, good evening, everyone. How are you all? Thumbs up, thumbs up. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for being here. Today is going to be workshop number 2. We're going to go into a little more detail on how to create your MySchools account for those who this is their first time creating one. And we're also going to go into detail on how to register and apply for the specialized high schools. Noel, is there anything you want to add right now?
Yes, I just throw in the chat the number. Let me say it in Spanish. Sorry. Puse en el chat el número para traducciones. Si necesita traducción simultánea en español, el número es 605-468-8800 y el código es 123456789-1. Si no entendió esto, entonces me manda un texto y yo lo dejo entrar a la conferencia. Gracias. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Give me 1 second to share my screen so I can put up the presentation. Okay, thumbs up if you're able to see my screen and hear me as well.
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, so again, welcome. And I also have Noel here who will be providing translation support. Noel, thank you so much again. We're gonna get right started. Give me 1 second. Okay, so yesterday the DOE has released the welcome letters and I handed it out to the students yesterday and today, as well as you all should have received in the mail from the DOE your welcome letters and email as well with your welcome letters in there as too. If you haven't received it, please let me know, send me an email and I can just simply send you your account creation code so you can begin to create your MySchools account. Okay. So for those whose first time is creating a MySchools account, what you're going to do is you're going to go to myschools.nyc. You're going to click on create an account and get started. You're going to enter the parent's contact information, the parent's name, phone number, and email address.
What our union partners are asking for is explanation of large.
Okay. Once the parent enters their email address, you're going to go to that email that you put into it, and you're going to click on the link to verify your account. Once you click on the link, then it would then open back up MySchools, and you can continue to register your account. And to the right, I have pictures on what the process looks like from step 1 through 4 as you begin to create your MySchools account. So on your high school welcome letter at the top right, you see your child's student ID number, also known as the OSIS number, which is 9 digits. So you need that to create your MySchools account, as well as the account creation code, which is a 6-digit letter that is all capitalized. So this part right here is just for the public DOE schools adding on to your list. We'll go into the specialized high schools in a few minutes.
Are you going to answer questions after the meeting, like when you're done showing the presentation?
Yes, of course.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Oops, give me 1 second. Okay. Okay, so I just want to have a refresher on the 4 key factors as you begin to search for the programs you're interested in applying to. So please remember the 4 key factors. Number one consists of your application choices. So it's super important to place your high school list in the order of preferences, meaning the number 1 school that you absolutely want to go to should be listed as number 1. Followed by, if you do not get into that school, what's the second choice program you will get into, and so on. Well, you want to go to, and so on. Now, it's not, I've had a few parents and students also ask me, do you have to add 12 schools, even though like they have like 10 and they're not sure what other programs they want to add? It's not required, you're not mandated to add 12 schools. It's just best that you do add 12 because it increases your chances of getting into a program or school that you're interested in, rather than being placed somewhere you don't want to be placed. The next thing to keep in mind is the program seat availability. So when it comes to seats and the demand, each program shows you how many applicants are applying for that one seat, and it will show you how in demand that program is. So if you have 3 or more applicants for one seat, that tells you that that program is high demand, which means there's like a lower chance of you getting an offer into that program. Now, there are also 2 seat groups. You also see on your high school welcome letter, your child will either be listed as general education or student with disability. Now, if that is incorrect, please let me know as soon as you can so I can contact the Office of Enrollment and let them know. Key factor 3, remembering the admissions priorities. So whichever program you want to apply to, keep in mind their admissions requirements. Some programs will be specifically for English language learners, for example, which means if your native and home language and primary language is only English, you will not be able to apply to that program simply because that school and program is for English language learners. On your MySchools list, there are also priority groups. Priority group 1 will be considered for an offer first, which can either be based on the location of the school and the student's home address. It can be based on their grades or GPA averages, and also just the category that they're placed in, again, based on their core grades. With priority group 2, that means if there are still seats available after priority group 1 has received an offer, then they will go on to priority group 2 and begin sending offers. Key factor 4, admissions methods, going into detail a little bit more on the different types of admissions. So open, for example, meaning students are randomly selected for an offer. So also on your MySchools account, you will be assigned a random number, and that's how they will choose who gets an offer into that program. For educational optional, if you see a program that has that option as an admissions method, what that means is students are placed into 3 categories. So it's kind of like a circle pie, and there's 3 sections, 33% for each section, meaning low, medium, high, depending on their grades. So if you're high, that means you're in group 1, and that means that your grades are, like above standard, above like 85% or higher. With the educational option component, they will admit students within each 1, 2, 3, meaning high, medium, or low. So each student will get a chance and go through the lottery to get an offer into that program. With screen schools means that the student can apply to that school, but they will also focus on their core grades from 7th grade. So their average grades throughout the entire 7th grade year for math, science, ELA, and social studies. Screened with assessment means there's a 2-part admissions method, and you can also apply to these schools on MySchools. So you will add that to your top 12 list, and you will also have a separate admissions, meaning you will either have to do a written essay, you have to do an interview, a video interview, or a certain project that you also have to record and share what project you did, for example. So also with the screen assessment, aside from the written component of it, they also focus on your grades as well. So as you begin to create your MySchools account and begin researching schools or programs that you're interested in, you're also going to see which group your child is in. Right now, it's not on MySchools because the grades are not entered, and they will not be entered until mid-October or towards the ending of October. So you will not be able to see which group your child is placed in right about now. I'm going to pause to see if there's any questions in the chat. Okay, so the grades, yes, I just answered that. No one is able to see the grades right about now. Nothing is entered into MySchools, and it will not be entered until around October 11th, and will not be visible on MySchools until mid-October. What the lottery number does is, let's say there's a tie between, there's one more seat left, and there's, let's say, like 4 or 5 students competing for that seat. They're going to use that random lottery number to give that offer to that student. So that's what the random lottery numbers are for. And as far as the tiers, yes, you will also find out which tier and group your child is in towards mid-October or a little bit before the ending of October. Who enters the grades? So for charter schools, the staff here, meaning myself or MS operations, they enter the grades, or we can send the grades to Office of Student Enrollment, and then they'll enter it in bulk into MySchools. And yes, these are your 7th grade average scores for ELA, science, math, and social studies. Now, how to interpret the lottery number, I don't have that answer for you right now. I can contact MySchools tomorrow and give you a definite answer on that, because I don't want to give you the wrong information. All right, and key factor 4, screened or language academic students are considered based on home language or their English language proficiency. So going back to the admissions requirements and methods, some programs are specifically for English language learners. Audition, like the 25 art programs or the specialized high schools, that is a 2-part application. So you will apply on MySchools for the 25 different programs, and then you will submit your audition or portfolio in the additional materials section. When it's time to submit additional materials, I will have another Zoom on how to submit additional materials and where to place them at. Okay, so again, in summary, when creating your high school list, please try your best to add 12 schools to the list. If not, then at least 10. And please remember to put them in your order of preference, meaning the school you really want to go to. Please do not put any school or program on there that you do not know of, that you do not want to go to, that is way too far, because you may end up being placed there and then you won't be happy with your placement. So please try to put 10 to 12 programs that you really want to get into. Okay, so I talked about creating the MySchools account. Now, going into specialized high schools. So the application period to register for the specialized high schools opened up yesterday, and it closes October 27th. Now, there are 8 specialized high schools that students can register to take the exam for. The only school you do not need to take the exam for is LaGuardia, because it is a performing arts school, so you will have to submit an audition. It will either be virtually or both in person as well if they call you back for a follow-up. So I put a picture here to show you what the 8 testing specialized high schools are. There's 2 in the Bronx, 2 in Brooklyn, 2 in Manhattan, 1 in Queens, and 1 in Staten Island. It's Bronx High School of Science, High School of American Studies at Lehman College, Brooklyn Latin School, Brooklyn Technical High School, Stuyvesant High School for Mathematics, Science, and Engineering at City College, Queens High School for the Sciences at York College, Staten Island Technical High School, and the one audition high school, like I mentioned, is LaGuardia, of course. Okay, so what is on the Shazats? What is on the specialized high school exam is a 2-component test, which consists of 52 multiple choice ELA questions and 52 multiple choice math questions. In addition to the math section, there are 5 questions where you will have to show how you got your work and explain your answer. So those are considered the 5 grid questions. The Shazat is 180 minutes long. It's a 3-hour test without any breaks. However, if you have some testing accommodations, your testing can be up to 360 minutes with 2 15-minute breaks. You do not have to stay for the entire 360 minutes. Once you're done and you look over your testing, you're confident that, like you're finished and everything, you can leave.
Eaddy.
Okay. So now, again, I placed some pictures on the right so you all can just see what it looks like once you go into MySchools. So you're going to log into your MySchools account. On your dashboard, you're going to scroll down to specialized high school. There's going to be 2 sections. One will say high schools and the other one right below will say specialized high schools. You're going to click on the specialized high school. Then at the top of the next page, you're going to click on Shazat. You're going to add the schools in your preference, the 8 specialized high schools that we just went over, you're going to add them in your preference order. So 1 meaning the one you really want to go to, and so on. After you add those schools to your list, you're then going to click next, and it's going to prompt you to some questions that ask you which day you prefer to have your testing on. So for charter schools, you're going to be testing on a weekend. It will either be November 18th or November 19th, which is a Saturday or a Sunday. Then on the next page, after you confirm that you're okay with weekend testing or you're not okay with it due to observing religious holidays, you will let them know there and click on that. Then you're going to read the 4 check boxes and confirm that those are correct, and then submit your registration. After you submit your Shazat registration, that is not your ticket for the test. That is just a receipt confirming that you registered for the test. You would not receive your Shazat ticket until a few days before the test is your test date is actually scheduled. Now, also, if you have testing accommodations and it's not listed on MySchools, you can still register for your specialized high school exam. However, the next day, please let me or MS Operations know so we can notify high school enrollment and they can fix that. Okay, so applying to LaGuardia, I'm going to check to see the chat to see if there's any questions. If your child doesn't have 7th grade grades, then it will go based on your first marking period of 8th grade, your grades from the first marking period, once that's entered. LaGuardia High School is on everyone's MySchool account. It's listed as a specialized high school if students choose to apply there for, specific art programs. So I'm going to go into a little detail around the next slide, I believe, a little bit more onto LaGuardia. But if you're not interested in applying to LaGuardia High School, you do not have to. It's just on everyone's MySchool account because it's a separate application. It does not go onto your list of 12 high schools. Okay, so to apply to LaGuardia High School, you're going to do the same thing. Go to your dashboard on MySchools and where it says high schools and below it, it'll say specialized high schools. You'll click on that as well. On the next page, you're going to look at the top and click on Shazat. On the next page is going to be 6 programs that you can list. And those programs include dance, instrumental music, technical theater, fine and visual arts, drama, or vocal music. Now, the thing with LaGuardia High School's auditions is you can audition for up to 6 programs. You can audition for all 6. You can audition for 1, 2, however many you want to. Oh, excuse me, I don't know what happened. Okay. Now, when it comes to if you're using an instrumental instrument for your audition, you will be prompted to enter the type of instrument that you're going to be auditioning with. You can use up to 2 instruments to audition for. Okay. Right. And a couple of deadlines, again, just important deadlines and events. I also want to mention a few open houses that are coming up. I know the students have also mentioned their interest in wanting to go. Give me 1 second. Okay, so the first one, and it's also on the link of the document that was sent via email. So all emails, if you did not receive it, if you're not receiving the blast emails, please let me know and we will add you onto the blast emails. So we have Baccalaureate School for Global Education coming up Wednesday, October 11th. It's in the evening from 5 to 6:30 p.m. Unfortunately, we're not able to take a school trip around that time since it's after school hours. So parents, if you're able to, and take your children to the open house if they're interested. Now, the ones for Saturday morning, we are looking into having school trips. However, right about now, due to busing, we're asking for parents to either drop their children off at the school and we continue with the tour, or stay with us so we continue with the school tour with your students, with your children. The next open house is Frank Sinatra. I know a lot of students are also interested in going there. We're also looking into going to the Saturday one, which is a Saturday morning, November 4th, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. For those also interested into applying to our schools, I know I spoke with you a few throughout these past 3 days. Please also speak with Ms. Donovan so we can add you to the Arts Google Classroom so you can see the admissions requirements for Frank Sinatra, LaGuardia, and so on. Okay. All right. Also, for those applying to Regis High School, I know there's a few students. There are a few dates also coming up. The nomination period ends October 23rd. So if your child is still interested, remember it's also an all boys school. If your child is still interested, please let me know and we can begin the nomination period. For those who have already created their account, please remember to reach out to your teachers. If you sent them a request for to write a recommendation letter, please just send them a reminder or just double check your portal to ensure that those documents are being submitted, because we want them done, of course, before the deadline, which is November 1st. If you've already sent your recommendation request and you still haven't heard back or received any update, please also reach out to me and I will contact Regis, or also reach out to those teachers or staff that the recommendations were submitted to.
Really? Yeah, you hear?
Okay, now going into yes, I know the test administration for Catholic high schools, their test is the same day as Regis. However, you're still going to, for those applying to Regis, you're still going to take the test at Regis and the tax will send you a makeup test date. Oh, excuse me. I want to check the chat. If it takes you back to the DOE, it's sending you to the general website on where all of the schools are listed, and it's telling you the admissions requirements. But you can just go back and then it'll take you right back to MySchools. Also with that, because the high school application just opened up yesterday, not all schools have their additional materials or admission essay prompts. They don't have that available yet. Okay, I'm going to open it up for questions now. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Yes, thank you, Daniela. Any open houses that you and your child are interested in, you definitely go to. Just send an email to MS Operations, let them know, either your child is going to be absent for the half day or the whole day, just send an email. But yes, definitely go to as many open houses as you can. Yes, I posted the list of open houses on the navigation timeline link as well. I will update it as LaGuardia just posted their first open house, which is scheduled for Wednesday, October 25th from 5 to 7 p.m. So I will update that open house list and send it out again tomorrow. Yes, because the admissions process just opened up, again, schools, like how school started at the beginning of September, we didn't really know much about which open houses would be because the application period just started and schools are just getting, into the habit, into the normal run. So more open house dates and tours will be just randomly popping up throughout the next few days, throughout the next few weeks.
Hey, Danisha, sorry.
No, it's okay, Daniela.
I just gonna jump in about open houses.
Please.
Sometimes our kids don't want to go to that school or they are not, interested. Just go and see the building because it's the only chance that you're gonna get to see the building. What happens sometimes they change mind and they're like, oh, I heard from my friend that this is a really good school and I want to go. So this is your chance as a parent to go see the building, meet the principals, meet the teachers, see how that works. Sometimes you think that you're not going to choose that school and it happened that it's a good school. So just go and try. You can go on their websites and they will tell you when and which days and everything. So just go and try.
Thank you, Daniela.
No problem.
Does a child's lottery number affect the school they want to get into? Yes and no, because again, lottery numbers. So if there's a tiebreaker that needs to be happen on a program, given an offer to let's say 2 students and they've met all of the admissions requirements, then that's where that lottery number will come into play. So again, it will be random. So it's like yes and no. But again, another thing I do want to stress to students as well is that, again, due to algorithms and just how the whole lottery system is that you can place 12 schools on your MySchools list, and you may not get into any of them. You may get into your zone school. And then you'll also probably be waitlisted for other schools, which also, again, is an overwhelming process. So I do want to encourage you all to not only apply to, the public schools on MySchools, but if you're interested in private schools, if you're interested in, charter schools or independent schools, Catholic schools, and so on, just open your options, expand your options, and, just apply, because you never know. Okay. Do we have any more questions? Now, moving forward, I do plan to, instead of having monthly workshops, I will be moving into having bi-weekly workshops. So workshops, I'm sorry. So one workshop at least every 2 weeks. And again, another reminder, I've also been getting a few emails on it still. The difference between a MySchools account creation code and the New York City schools account. Those are two different things. And because your child is in a charter school right now, they do not have the New York City schools account. That is for the public DOE schools. So let's say after your child graduates from here, AOC to charter school, and they go into a DOE school, that's when the high school that they're now going to, they will get their New York City schools account creation code for you to create that account. So they're two different things. Our school uses Power Schools, where you're able to see, like your child's grades, you're able to see, like their attendance and so on. Now, moving forward, I will continue to meet with students during the wellness class and meet with them individually, one-on-one. Now, also, I'm opening it up to all parents. If you also just want to schedule a Zoom meeting with me as well, one-on-one, or with your child as well, just let me know. Or if you want to come into the school, you can also let me know as well.
I actually do have a question.
Yes.
So I know like they could choose up to 12 schools and they don't get into any of those schools and they wind up having to go to their zone school. Is there any way out of that is my question?
Yes. So let's say your child applies to 12 schools. There's also a big possibility that they will be waitlisted for some of those schools that they apply to. So throughout over like the next few weeks into the next few months towards the ending of the school year, those wait lists, like the numbers will begin to go down and they'll get closer to it. So they can possibly end up being, getting an offer into one of those schools they were waitlisted for, and you can decline your first offer and then accept the one where the waitlist gave you an offer to.
Okay, because I mean, I'm not saying Bryant is such a bad school anymore because I'm hearing better things, but considering where I live, I'm literally like 10 minutes, not even 5 minutes away from LIC. And they're saying that Bryant is my zone school, which really confuses me.
Mm. Also, thank you for mentioning that. On all of your high school welcome letters, I also had the students do that today. A few of them did say their addresses were incorrect and that they moved like years ago. So please double check your welcome letters and let me know as soon as possible if your address is not correct, because that can also be the reason why, like your zone school is being listed as that, where that's technically not your zone school.
Right. Like I'm closer to 8th Street and Long Island City High School is literally like a 5-minute walk from my house. Bryant, he would have to take the bus and go to the other side, basically towards Woodside, to get to school every day.
Mhm.
I mean, everything that we have listed is correct so far. So that's why I'm asking, like,
Yeah.
I don't want him going there, but if that's what happens, it is what it is until we can figure something else out.
Mhm. Right. So again, thankfully, the wait list, that process. So
It moves.
yeah,
All
definitely.
right.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, I hope this information was helpful. If you have any feedback or any other resources you would like to share, please just send me an email. I'm all, open to it. We are all working together to, ensure our students and your children, get into high schools and programs that, they will be happy at for the next 4 years. So I thank you all. Have a great night and get home safe for those who are not home yet. Thank you so much, Noelle. Thank you so much, Daniela. Thank you so much, all the parents, Gerard, for being here. And I will see you guys again in about 2 weeks.
Thank you, Miss D. We appreciate it.
You're welcome. Have a good night.
Guys, thank
All
you.
right,
Have a
you
good
too.
night, guys. Nice to see you guys.
Thank
All
you,
right, bye-bye.
miss. Thank you. Have a good night.
Have a
Good
good
night.
night. Thank you.